Hey, it's time to put the character into the library. It's ready to be saved and available for future projects. So I am going to copy. I'm just going to select the backdrop that includes the rig and everything in it. Control C to copy. I'm going to open up a library. So I'm going to open library, and I already have a folder open. Library is. Select the folder. So you can make any folder you want on your desktop. So I'm going to come into mine, and this one is going to be PTO. So I'm going to click right to modify. There's a little lock. I have to unlock it so I can save stuff into it. I think I'll make a new folder too. And that new folder, I'm going to double click and just call it PTO. So I've got like 4 main rigs and then some other things that I reuse. Okay, so here he is. I've copied him, and now I'm going to click in here in this big black area and Control V to paste. Control C, Control V. PTO underscore VO1. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I am going to press save, and I am going to close. I'll right click on this and choose Edit Template. What this does is it opens up another instance of Harmony, but this is the template file. It looks very similar to a Harmony file, a regular build file. Alright, so here he is. The thing that's different is in the node view you'll see there's no display or composite, and the little highlight around each of the windows, the mouse focus, is green instead of red. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean off the timeline. I'm going to press 0, and I'm going to delete all the stuff that I don't need. So I'm going to delete this stuff. I'm going to pull this stuff back, and then I'm going to delete everything past there. Now, I'm just removing keyframes and cell swaps from showing up. I'm not actually deleting stuff. Now, this is how I like things to be, like a prop or anything. I want to be able to scroll through, see what's available in the rig, and see what can be done with it. And then I could even reuse some of these poses. Alright, so now I'm going to say scene length is going to be 21. And I don't need any of these to be colored. I'm going to shift select these and remove the marks. And now I'm going to save. It'll always give you a warning. Yeah, that's fine. I want to save. I've never had it give me an issue. I am going to save my PTO VO1. I'm going to save it as PTO VO1 build, because this is the build file. If I ever need to get back into it and to have the reference and everything and all of the master controller posing on the timeline, all these keyframes, I'm going to want to open the build file, not the .tpl that's been cleaned up a little bit. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to run Harmony, brand new instance of Harmony. I'm just going to make a brand new scene, so PTO scene 97, who knows, just something like that. Okay, the scene's empty pretty much. I'm going to get rid of this drawing layer, I don't need it. I'm going to come here to my library, and you just drag this TPL file into your node view, brings it all in. I'll hook this up and check it out. I've got the rig. Now, I deleted all the keyframes, the other keyframes and the mouths and everything, but watch. This is what I would do if I were bringing this guy into a scene. I would copy these, and let's say that the scene was 60 frames long. I would make the scene longer, and I would come down to 60, and I would say scene marker, mark current frame, and I would say final frame 60. So I remember what the final one was. But I am going to copy all of this stuff and paste it starting on 61. This is all for backup purposes. And let's say that the scene starts out with him as the quarter front view. So I'll drag that here. I will select from frame 2 to frame 60 and press Shift and then delete all of that. Then I'll come to 60 and I'll press F5 to extend exposure, and I'll get rid of this tween. And now what I would do is I'd be looking at the animatic, seeing when he needs to do different poses, and this is what I would do. I would go to the master controllers, I would show all the master controllers, use animate current frame. Maybe I would swap on the master controller reference if I wanted, pressing the right bracket or just choosing the drawing substitution. And now I go through with animate current frame, transform tool. Let's say on frame 12 he's leaning over picking something up. So I'll use the full body. Well, I normally go through and do the turn first. So maybe he's facing this direction, and then he starts looking more towards us as he sniffs a flower or something. And then he's gonna look over that way at his friend and hold the flower out, and then he'll come back and be staring at the flower. Okay, so I've got those figured out. So here on this frame, now I'm going to do the full body tilt. So he's going to be looking down, reaching, right? And then he's going to pick it up. Oops, that was weird, huh? So maybe what I want to do is I do want to insert a keyframe on all of these while they're collapsed. So I'll go ahead and use this. He's leaning down, picking up the flower. Then he comes here, and maybe this is probably pretty good. Maybe I do a little bit of torso tilt up, just a little bit, and then I could move the eyes down a little. And then he's looking over at his friend. Maybe he's leaning over. So torso tilt towards his friend. Hey. And then he comes back to here, and there you go. So usually I start with the turnaround first, and then I come back and do the torso tilt is usually what I do next, and finally I do a face tilt or a head tilt. But this character, the torso and the face are all together. And then I would quickly go through and adjust where the arms need to be, just using keyframes, but the transform tool. But that's the process. So you want to use these master controllers as a first pass. Sometimes they get a little funky if you're trying to use them after you've done some really nice poses, because what these are doing is it's simply spitting back out onto your timeline keyframe information and cell swaps that you had told it to use. And so sometimes if you've made the character blink or something and then you go use one of these, now the character won't be blinking. You made a really cool facial expression with the deformers. Well, once you use these torso tilts and stuff, it kind of like makes it disappear, or it makes it just go back to the default mouth. So that's why you want to start off with your master controllers to get all of these tilts and stuff in, and then go through and do all the details once you know that that's working. So that's the rig, and you can use it in as many files as you want to. You just drag it into different scenes. The times that you would want to increase the version number of the rig is if you needed to add something. So let's say that the character, all of a sudden, he forever needed to have a watch on a hand. So then you would add a node. You'd add some stuff to the arm to add a watch on both sides of the body, and you turn it off on one side. If the character ever gets flipped, you'll turn it on one side and turn it off on the other. But anyways, whenever you need to add nodes in the node view, that's when you want to increase your version number. And when you increase your version number, you only want to increase it here. So VO2. You want to make sure that all of this other stuff stays named exactly how it is. The master controllers are counting on this thing being named what it's named here. And when you're trying to copy from one version of the rig to another, you can. Like you could copy something from version 1 to a version 2 of the rig, but you'd want to copy from the scene peg or copy from the master peg inside. And when you go to paste, let me just show you, you would copy and then you would paste special and you would say match by node layer name. So even if the new rig had like a bunch more deformers or a bunch more layers, as long as you click on this and you haven't renamed anything inside, it should all paste where it's supposed to. So there you go. I hope you have fun with this little potato. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you go and build a ton of characters that you want to build. Have fun with it, because Harmony is seriously like playing with magic, you know? Alright, see you later. See you soon!